The twin suns of Orisha slowly crossed the sky, casting a golden light over the blue forests and crystal lakes of the peaceful alien world. On a soft hill near the city of Solara, a young girl named Nira sat quietly, her hands resting on her knees as she watched the birds fly in circles above the trees. Nira had always loved the sky. It reminded her of dreams, of freedom, of stories her mother told her before sleep. But today her breath felt heavy, and her skin, usually glowing with the soft shimmer of healthy Oricians, looked dim. A quiet ache filled her chest, and her vision blurred for a moment. Then, without warning, Nira collapsed. Her mother, Lena, ran from their home nearby and screamed her daughter's name. Neighbors gathered quickly. Nira was barely breathing, her eyes open but not seeing. She was rushed to the city's high tower, the House of Healing. Inside, Arishan doctors examined her carefully. Their soft blue robes brushed the floor as they moved from one glowing screen to another. The lights above hummed gently. Machines scanned her body and showed strange results. Her energy is fading too fast, whispered one healer. It is soul fading, said another. But there is no cure, Nira was placed in a quiet chamber, where warm light and gentle music tried to calm her body. But nothing changed. Lena stayed by her daughter's side, holding her hand. Nira didn't speak, but sometimes her eyes moved, following her mother's voice. Lena cried, then prayed, then sat in silence. She had already lost her husband to the same illness years ago. Now, her only child was slipping away too. The next morning, the lead healer, Master Varl, stood before Lena with slow, sad eyes. We have done everything our science allows. We cannot stop the soul fading, but there must be a way. Lena cried. You are the best minds in the galaxy. Varl shook his head. We do not understand the cause. No medicine, no energy. Treatment, not even starlight therapy has worked. We can only make her comfortable. Lena stepped back, heartbroken. Her world was falling apart again. That evening, she sat near Nira and looked up at the stars. In her hand was a small device. Communication stone used to send messages across the galaxy. It was old, a gift from a visitor long ago. Few Oricians used such things. They believed their own science was enough. But Lena, out of hope, sent a message anyway. She didn't know who would receive it. She didn't even know if the message would reach any living soul. She simply said, to anyone who can help, my daughter is dying. Our doctors have failed. We welcome any help from any world. Please save her. And she placed the stone on the ground and waited. The stars blinked above, silent, on a small research station near the edge of Earth's space zone. A soft beep broke the silence of the control room. A human woman, Dr. Myra, looked up from her work. She was alone, working late again. The signal blinked again. Mira tapped the screen. Strange, she said to herself. This isn't on any known channel. She opened the message and watched a shaky recording. An alien woman begging for help, her eyes full of sorrow. The name of the illness soul fading meant nothing to Mira, but the symptoms. They reminded her of a rare human condition she had studied years ago during her time on Mars' medical base. She downloaded the data, scanned the medical reports, and compared them with Earth's database. Her eyes widened. No wonder they can't fix it, she whispered. They're looking in the wrong place. Myra had solved many strange medical puzzles. She was known for working alone, often going where no other doctor would. She didn't care much for rules, but she cared deeply about saving lives, any lives. She packed her medical bag, checked her ship Hopewind, and sent a message to Earth. Command. I've received a distress call. Alien girl. Condition is serious. I'm heading out. Reply was slow and doubtful. We don't recommend responding. No clear data. Risk is high. Mira ignored it. 3 days later, on the edge of Orisha's atmosphere, a small silver ship approached. The Orician skies were rarely touched by outsiders. The people watched with curiosity and concern as the ship landed near the house. Lena was called to the council chamber. There is a visitor, said Master Varl. From Earth, a human. A human, Lena gasped. Then the message. Worked? The door opened, and in stepped Dr. Mira. She wore a white coat with small glowing pins showing the symbol of Earth's medical service. Her short black hair was tied back, and her eyes were calm but firm. I'm Dr. Mira, she said. I heard your message. I've studied your case. I believe I can help. The council looked at her with doubt. Our science is older than yours, said Healer Draxon. We have seen many worlds. Your people are still new. True, Mira replied, but we learn fast. And I don't care who's older. I care who's dying. Take me to the girl, Varl hesitated. Then he nodded. Very well. Healing chamber, Mira saw Nira, pale, unmoving, machines keeping her stable, but only just. Mira sat beside her, opened her scanner, and began running tests. She studied Nira's cell structure, her energy patterns, her brain waves. Everything pointed to one thing. Her body was shutting down because it couldn't process a certain type of energy that Orishians naturally produce. But Nira's body had developed a fault. It wasn't anyone's mistake. It was nature. I can fix this, Mira said, softly but clearly. You can, Lena whispered. I think so. It's rare, but I've seen something like this before. On Earth, I have. A method, but I need permission to try. Lena nodded without hesitation. Do it, please. Mira turned to the council. I won't promise miracles, but if I do nothing, she will die. If you allow me, she might live. The room went silent, then Master Varl finally said, We allow one try. Mira smiled. Then let's begin. The room was quiet, filled with the soft hum of Orishan healing machines. Nira lay still, her chest rising and falling slowly. Her skin had lost its usual shine, and her breath was weak. Her mother, Lena, sat close by, holding her daughter's hand, afraid to let go. Doctor. Mira stood beside the bed, studying the latest scans. She had seen many strange diseases in her life, but this one was different. It wasn't just a sickness, it was a slow fading of energy from inside the body. Like a candle losing its flame. Myra turned to Lena. Her cells are not converting life energy properly. Your people call it soul fading, but on Earth we call this kind of condition cellular collapse. I think I can help her with a tool from Earth. What kind of tool? Lena asked. Myra pulled a small silver case from her bag. Inside were 5 tiny machines, no bigger than grains of sand, shimmered under the light like soft blue diamonds. These are bio-nanites, Myra explained. They are like tiny helpers. They go inside the body and help fix broken cells. They've saved many lives on Earth, especially when normal medicine couldn't. Lena looked unsure. Our laws don't allow machines inside the body. The council may not agree. Mira's voice stayed calm. I understand, but your doctors have done everything they can. These nanites do not harm their support. If you allow me to try, we may be able to stop the soul fading. The choice is yours. Lena looked at her daughter again. Nira's fingers were cold. Her pulse was slower than before. I don't care what the law says, Lena whispered. Whatever it takes, save her. Outside the room, the Orishan Council was gathered in a round hall. The glowing walls showed gentle images of Orish's stars and forests meant to bring peace. But today the room was filled with worry. Master Varl sat at the center, hands folded. Beside him was Healer Draxon, an old and proud doctor who believed strongly in Orishan traditions. Around them were 10 other council members, all with different thoughts. A human wants to place machines inside one of our young, Draxon said sharply. We cannot allow that. It is against the spirit of Orisha. But the girl is dying, said one councilwoman. The human says she can help. We are not animals to be tested on, Draxon replied. If we let her do this, others will follow. Our people may grow dependent on Earth's tools. Var stayed quiet for a moment. Then he asked, What if she succeeds? Draxon looked away. After a long silence, Varl spoke. I will not stop her. One chance, that is all. If it fails, we do not continue. But if it works, we may have much to learn. Back in the healing room, Mira gently prepared the injection. Each nanite was programmed to search for weak cells and support them. They would not take over the body, they would only give strength. This may feel a little cold, she said softly, as she placed the injector near Nira's arm. She pressed the button. A quiet sound like the hum of a tiny bell came from the device. Then silence. Mira watched the monitor. At first, nothing happened. The screen still showed weak energy signals. Nira's pulse was still slow. Minutes passed. Then, a flicker. One number on the screen rose slightly. Then another. Mira leaned forward. The nanites were working slowly, carefully repairing the weak cells and helping energy flow again. Lena gasped. Is she getting better? She's not out of danger, Mira said. But yes, her body is responding. Word spread quickly through the healing house. Doctors, students, and even guards came to watch. A human doctor unknown. Untrusted was doing what no Orishan healer could. Some whispered with hope, others whispered with fear. 3 hours later, Nira opened her eyes. She didn't speak, but her fingers moved. Her eyes followed the lights on the ceiling. Her glow soft and weak was returning. Lena burst into tears. She hugged her daughter gently, whispering thanks again and again. Nira looked at her mother, then at the human beside her. Mira smiled. Welcome back, Nira. That evening the council met again. Healing with machines, Draxon said bitterly. What will be next? Replacing hearts with wires? Minds with programs? She is alive, Varl answered calmly. That is what matters. But it goes against our way, Draxon argued. If we allow this once, others will come. Our people will lose their path. One council member asked, Would you rather lose the child? Draxon didn't reply. Mira stayed in the healing house that night. She didn't sleep. She watched. Nira's vitals adjusted the nanite settings, made notes in her earth pad. A young Orishan apprentice named Rilo approached her. I've never seen anything like this, he said. Earth has made a lot of mistakes, Mira replied. But sometimes we get things right. Do you think you can teach us? Rilo asked. Mira looked at him. Double quotes. Yes. But you must want to learn. I won't force your people to change, but if they want my help, I'll give it. The next morning, Nira was awake and smiling. Her glow was brighter. She whispered her first word in days, Mama. Lena hugged her tightly. Mira stepped out of the room and found Varl waiting. You did something impossible, he said. No, Mira replied. I just did something different. Others will not like it, Varl warned. I'm not here to be liked, Mira said. I'm here to save lives. Varl gave a small nod. Then you may stay for now. But be careful. Not everyone wants change. Mira looked back at Nira's room. I didn't come to change your world, she said, only to stop one girl from fading away. Morning light touched the high spires of Solara City. On the eastern side, the healing house stood. Tall, its smooth crystal walls glowing gently in the rising sun. Inside, the halls were filled with soft voices and quiet footsteps. But one room was different. In that room, Nira sat up on her bed, her small hands gripping a warm cup of herbal broth. Her skin, once pale and cold, now held a faint shine again. Her eyes were brighter, and her voice, though still weak, had returned. Her mother Lena sat beside her, feeding her slowly and smiling through quiet tears. You're getting stronger, she whispered, just like before. Nira nodded. She didn't have many words yet, but her heart felt full. The pain in her chest was almost gone. She still felt tired, but it was a soft tired, not the deep emptiness that had pulled her down before. In the corner, Dr. Mira checked her scanner again. The tiny earth-made nanites were still moving inside Nira's body, repairing and supporting her broken cells. They worked like a team of helpers, passing energy, fixing damage, and guiding the natural flow back into order. Mira smiled. She's recovering faster than I expected. A young Orishan student named Rilo watched from behind Mira. He had asked to learn from her, and she had agreed. He took notes with his glowing stylus, eyes wide with curiosity. These machines are not replacing anything, he said slowly. They're just helping the body fix itself. Mira nodded. Exactly. Your people think machines mean control. But good machines don't control. They support. Rilo thought for a moment. But why has no Orishan thought of this before? Sometimes, Mira said, we look at a problem for too long in the same way. We stop seeing other paths. That same morning, Healer Draxon stood before the council again. He was angry. This is a mistake, he said sharply. The girl may look better, but we do not know what is happening inside her. We cannot trust these tiny machines. They are not natural. They may change her forever. Change is not always bad, replied one councilwoman. Draxon's eyes narrowed. We are losing our path. If we let this human continue, we will become weak. We will depend on outsiders. Master Varl raised his hand. Peace, Draxon. The child lives. That is more than our science could offer. Draxon crossed his arms. Then we must test the girl again. Deep testing. We must make sure she is still fully Orishan. Varl sighed. Very well. Let it be gentle. She is still healing. Later that day, Draxon entered Nira's room with 2 assistants. Mira watched carefully as they performed their test blood checks, brain scans, and energy rhythm reading. The machines beeped softly, showing stable results. She is improving, one assistant whispered. Yes, Draxon said coldly. But how much of that is her, and how much is machine? Myra stood calmly. You don't have to trust me. Just trust your own data. Draxon gave her a cold look and left without a word. Outside, in the city garden, children played under the light of the twin suns. Trees moved gently in the wind, their blue leaves whispering in harmony. Mira walked through the garden with Rilo, explaining how the nanites worked. They don't stay in the body forever, she said. Once the healing is done, they break down naturally. Rilo nodded. So Nira will be back to normal. Better than before, Mira replied. Because now her body knows how to fight the problem. They sat on a stone bench under a wide glowing tree. Your people are smart, Mira said. But sometimes fear hides the truth, my teachers told. Me humans were reckless, Rilo admitted. That you rush into things without understanding? Mira smiled. Sometimes we do. But sometimes rushing means we find answers faster. We try, we fail, we learn. Rilo looked thoughtful. Maybe both ways have value. Mira patted his shoulder. That's the future. Working together, not fighting about who's right. Evening, Lena met with Varl in private. I want you to know, she said softly. If Mira had not come, my daughter would be gone. Your doctors are kind and wise, but they didn't have what she had. Varl nodded slowly. We are trained to heal the body, but not always the mind. Your hope brought the human here. I don't understand machines, Lena said, but I understand life. Mira gave my child life again. She is not like other humans, Varl said. She listens. That is rare. Back in the healing house, Myra checked Nira's progress one more time before resting. She was tired. She hadn't slept much in the last few days. But seeing Nira sitting up, smiling, and even drawing a picture today had made everything worth it. As she closed her scanner, small alarm blinked. Mira looked closer. Another patient. A second child had just arrived. Faint glow, slow breath, and the same signs of soul fading. She stood up at once. Who is it? She asked the nurse. A girl named Kara, 8 years old. From the South Hills, she just collapsed this morning. Myra felt a chill. It wasn't just Nira. The disease was spreading. Back at the council chamber, the news reached Varl. This is no longer a single case, he said seriously. If more fall ill, we must decide quickly. Do we allow the human to treat others, or do we risk losing more children? Draxon stood up. We cannot let Earth machines treat all our people. That would make us depend on them. And what is worse? Varl asked. Needing help, or letting our children die? The room went quiet. That night Mira looked down at sleeping Nira and whispered, You're stronger now. But others need help. She turned to her tools, her mind already working on how to adjust the nanites for the new case. Each patient would be different. Each treatment would be special. But one thing was clear. This was just the beginning. The sun had not yet risen over Solara City. but the healing house was already awake. The halls were busier than before. Nurses moved quickly. Healers spoke in low voices, and worried families sat in waiting rooms. The illness called soul fading was no longer just one child, it was spreading. Kara, an 8-year-old girl from the southern hills, lay in a healing bed just 3 rooms away from Nira. Her small body was weak, her glow almost gone. Her parents stood nearby, silent and afraid. They had heard about the human doctor, the one who had saved Nira. Now, they looked at Mira with the same hope in their eyes. Dr. Mira checked Kara's scans. The signs were clear. This was the same illness, the same energy weakness. She had already adjusted her nanites for Kara's smaller size. They were ready to be used. But Mira paused. "I need permission," she said gently. "The council allowed me to treat Nira, but only once. I must ask again before I help your daughter." Kara's mother held her breath. "Please," she whispered. "Don't want to lose her." "I'll do my best," Myra said. "But I must go through the council." She turned and walked quickly toward the council tower. The clock was ticking inside the grand chamber. The Orcian council was already in session. Master Varl sat at the center, looking tired. He had not slept well. The news of a second child falling ill had shaken him deeply. When Mira entered, all eyes turned to her. "There is another case," she said calmly. "The illness is spreading. I request permission to treat her the same way I treated Nira." Before Varl could speak, healer Draxon stood up. "No," he said firmly. "We cannot allow it." Myra kept her voice steady. "She will die without help." "We do not know that," Draxon replied. "You only assume your machines are the answer. We need more time to study the illness, not rush into using outside tools on our children." Varl raised a hand. "We must listen. The humans saved Nira's life. You saw the proof. And what if those machines do something later?" Draxon asked. "What if they change the children inside? We don't know their long-term effects." Orcian spirit. "We may not see the harm now, but it may come." One council member nodded. "He has a point. What if the cure brings a new problem?" Mira stepped forward. "I understand your fear, but fear cannot save lives. Action can. I am not forcing you. I am offering help. This girl has hours, not days." The room went silent. Var looked around. "Let us vote. Who agrees to allow Dr. Myra to treat the second child?" Only 4 hands rose. 5 were needed. Myra's heart sank. Back at the healing house, Myra stood outside Kara's room. The girl was getting weaker. Her parents wept quietly. Nira, who had heard the news, sent her a small flower made of light, a symbol of hope. It glowed softly beside Kara's bed. Rilo, the young student, found Mira in the hallway. "They refused?" he asked. Mira nodded. Rilo looked upset. "It's not right. Kara could be saved." "I know," Mira said, "but I can't go against." The council. Rilo thought for a moment. "What if we could show them more proof? Show them that Nira is not just alive, but getting stronger every day." "She already is," Mira said. "But they don't want proof. They want certainty. And in medicine, certainty doesn't always exist." Later that evening, Draxon called for a meeting with his followers, traditional healers, elders, and a few worried parents. They gathered in a small chamber, lit by soft lanterns. "We must stop this," Draxon said. "The human brings ideas that break our traditions. If she keeps going, our healing ways may be lost. We must protect Orisha from outside control, but what can we do?" one asked. Draxon's eyes narrowed. "Make sure she cannot treat anyone else." The next morning, Mira walked into the healing house and stopped in shock. Her medical bag was missing. She searched every corner, but it was gone. The nanites, the scanner, her earth notes, everything had been taken. She rushed to Varl. "My equipment is gone," she said urgently. "I cannot treat anyone without it." Varl looked surprised. "We will begin an investigation at once." But Mira saw the look in his eyes. He already knew who might be responsible. That night, a message appeared on her room screen. It was short and clear. Leave Orisha. This is not your world. Myra stared at the message. It didn't scare her, but it hurt. She had come only to help. She had followed their rules. Now, they were turning against her. She sat in silence. Thinking then, slowly, she smiled. I didn't come here for their permission, she whispered. I came for the children. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Nira walked in. Her own into the council tower. She was thin, and her steps were slow, but she stood tall. Her mother walked beside her. I want to speak, Nira said. The council allowed it. I was dying, she said simply. Your science could not help me. Mira helped me. I am still me. I still feel Orishan, still dream like I did before. But now I can live, Lena added. If another child is sick, let her have the same chance. The chamber was silent. Master Varl stood. Let us vote again. It's time. 5 hands rose. Mira was called at once. The vote had passed. She rushed back to the healing house and found her bag placed quietly at the door. No one admitted who returned it. She didn't ask. She only went to Kara's room, paired the nanites, and started the treatment. As the tiny machines entered Kara's body, Mira whispered, You're not alone, little one. We'll fight this. Together. The healing room was silent except for the soft beeping of monitors. Kara, the young girl from the southern hills, lay still on the white bed. Her skin was cold, her glow barely visible. But inside her body, something new was happening. Tiny machines' bionates moved through her blood. Designed by humans and guided by Dr. Mira, they searched for weak cells and helped them recover. Slowly, gently, they worked together with Kara's body to push back the illness called soul fading. Mira sat beside her, watching the screens carefully. Each signal, each number, told a part of Kara's story. Her heart was steady. Her energy waves were starting to rise. She's responding, Mira whispered, just like Nira did. Beside her, Raylo, the young Orishan apprentice, smiled. It's working again. Mira nodded. God, it will take time, but she has a chance now. News spread quickly through the healing house. First one nurse told another. Then a patient's family whispered it down the hallway. By evening, the whole building knew. Another child had been saved by the human. Mira became a name spoken with hope. Children, who once feared her strange tools, now waved at her in the halls. Parents began to ask quiet questions about the treatment. Some even requested checkups, afraid their own children might show early signs of the illness. The change in mood was like sunrise. After a long night, but not everyone was smiling. Healer Draxon stood in his private study, staring at a glowing screen. That showed Kara's improving health. His hands were tight at his sides. The facts were clear. The girl was recovering. Just like Nira, she's done it again, he muttered. A younger healer behind him spoke carefully. Sir, maybe? It's time to learn from her methods. Draxon turned sharply. Her methods are not ours. If we allow this to spread, we lose everything we have built. But no more talk, Draxon said. If the council won't act, then I will. Meanwhile, Mira sat with Master Varl. And the other council members? They were gathered in a smaller meeting room, more relaxed now than before. You have done something we believed impossible, Varl said. Twice, and without harm to our people. Mira nodded. I'm glad I could help. But this is bigger than 2 children. We need to find the source of this illness. If more children are affected, we won't have enough tools or time. Do you suggest, asked one councilwoman? A team, Mira said. Orishan and human researchers, working together. Not just to treat, but to understand. Varl leaned back. That would be a big step. It would be the right step, Rilo added. I want to help. Varl looked around the room. Most council members nodded in agreement. You have our support, Varl said. Let's begin. A new section of the healing house was cleared and turned into a shared research. Lab Mira moved her equipment in and worked side by side with Rilo and 3 other young Orishan scholars. They shared data, studied Kara's and Nera's scans, and compared energy readings. They noticed a pattern: each sick child had lived near the southern river valley. Something in the air or water might be triggering the illness, Myra suggested. Testing soil and water samples? Rilo and the others agreed. For the first time, earth science and oration knowledge were working hand in hand. Back in her room, Nera continued to grow stronger. She could walk longer, eat regular food, and even joke with the nurses. She began drawing pictures again this time, not just of skies and birds, but of machines and stars. One afternoon, she asked Mira, "Can I visit the new lab?" Mira smiled. "Only if you promise not to run away with my tools," Mira laughed. "I just want to learn." Mira led her through the research room, showing her the monitors, the energy readers, and even a new nanite prototype. "You made all this?" Mira asked. "Not alone," Mira said. "Everything good takes a team." But while the lab grew and hope returned to Orisha, Draxon made his move. Late one night, when the healing house was quiet, two masked figures crept toward Hopewind, Myra's ship. It sat on the edge of the city, guarded but not heavily. Most believed the danger had passed. The intruders placed a small device near the engine core. Silent bomb made of focused plasma energy. Once triggered, it would destroy the ship without harming the city. They slipped away unnoticed. The next morning, Aro walked toward her ship to send new data back to Earth. As she approached, her scanner beeped. She frowned. Strange. Mister. A heat spike near the core. She opened the engine panel and froze. A red blinking light. Okay, a timer. Bomb, she whispered. She backed away slowly, then ran to the nearest guard. Within minutes, security teams arrived and disarmed the device. It was set to explode within 10 minutes. The council was called at once. Mira stood before them again. This time not as a healer but as a target. "Someone wants me gone," she said. This was not a mistake. It was planned. Draxon was present. His arms crossed. "We don't know who did this," he said calmly. "It could have been a mistake from Earth's own tools." Rilo stood up. "That's not true. I saw a guard talking to someone near the ship last night, someone wearing healer robes." All eyes turned to Draxon. Varl stood. "This must end. We cannot allow violence against those who come to help us. Dr. Myra will be given full protection, and those behind this will face the law." Draxon said nothing, but his face told the truth. His time of control was ending. Back at the healing house, Kara opened her eyes for the first time in days. Her parents cried with joy. Mira visited her, holding her hand and telling her stories. Mira stood at the doorway watching. She had come to save one life. Now, she had saved two, and helped start a change that no one had believed possible. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning of something even greater. The skies above Orisha were calm, filled with soft light from the twin suns. Birds flew slowly across the horizon, and the crystal towers of Solara City reflected the golden rays. Everything looked peaceful, but inside the healing house, the air felt tense. Dr. Mira sat in a quiet room with Master Varl and two council guards. Her face was calm, but her eyes showed clear concern. "I found the bomb near the engine of Hopewind," Mira said. "Someone planted it carefully. It wasn't random. Whoever did it wanted to send a message." Varl nodded slowly. "We agree. This was a planned attack." "The timer was set for 10 minutes, Mira continued. "If I hadn't checked the scanner, the explosion would have destroyed the ship. My equipment, my records, everything would be gone." "Someone wants to stop your work," Varl said. "What?" "But we will not allow fear to guide us. You will be protected." Mira looked out the window. She had faced danger before, on distant worlds, in unstable colonies, and during medical emergencies. But this felt different. This time, the enemy was not a virus or a broken machine. It was fear. And fear was harder to cure. Later that day, Rilo, the young Orishan student, walked into the shared research lab. He found Mira staring at a small glowing panel that showed Nira's latest health update. Nira's levels are good, Relo said, trying to smile. Yes, Mira replied. She's healing well. But now we must be careful. There are people here who see my work as a threat. Rilo looked down. I think it was Healer Draxon. He has followers. I believe you're changing our world too fast. Mira nodded. Don't want to change your world. I want to help it grow. We're already growing, Rilo said. You just helped us see a new way. In another part of the healing house, Nira visited Kara, who was now sitting up in bed. Masada smiled as they talked quietly. Nira showed her how to fold glowing paper into animal shapes. My favorite is the skyfish, Nira said, holding up a light blue folded creature. Kara giggled. Mine is the cloudbird. Their laughter filled the room like music. Nearby, Kara's mother watched with soft eyes. She hadn't smiled in days. But now she felt something she had almost forgotten: hope. That evening, Mira returned to Hopewind. Her medical ship. She walked through each section, checking every system twice. The engine, power core, navigation, everything seemed normal now. The bomb had been removed, and new sensors had been installed to prevent future attacks. Still, she didn't feel at ease as she walked into the lab area. She saw a small object on her table. It was a folded piece of paper. Simple, white, and square. She opened it slowly. Inside there were just 2 words. Leave now. There was no name. No signature. Just a message, cold and clear. Mira stared at the note for a long moment. Then she quietly folded it again and placed it in her pocket. The next morning, the shared research lab was busy. Orishan and human tools worked side by side. Mira, Rilo, and 2 more young scholars tested water samples from the southern valley. That's where both Nira and Kara had lived. This water has strange readings, Rilo said, pointing to the screen. Energy lines are lower than normal. Mira scanned the data. This might be the source. Something in this water is weakening their natural energy. One of the students, Tara, added, if we find what's causing it, we can stop others from getting sick. Mira smiled. Exactly. Healing isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about preventing future harm. Outside the lab, the city was changing. More families visited the healing house. Some asked about the human doctor. Others offered thanks. A few even asked Mira to teach their children. Master Varl noticed this shift. He spoke to the council again. The people are watching. They want progress. We must decide, do we stand still or move forward with them? One elder replied. We feared losing our identity. But now I see we were also losing our future. Even those who had doubted. Mira began to listen. All except one. Healer Draxon sat alone in his chambers. His voice was bitter as he spoke to his last loyal follower. She's spreading her ideas like roots. Quiet at first, but deep. If we let this continue, Orisha will become a mirror of Earth. But the people trust her now, the follower, said. Draxon's eyes narrowed. Then we must act before their trust becomes law. That night, as Mira prepared her evening report, the lights in Hopewind flickered. She stood up quickly. Power drop, she said. But why? Suddenly an alarm rang. Unauthorized access detected. Myra rushed to the control screen. Someone was trying to break into her ship again. She pressed the emergency lockdown button. Doors sealed. Lights turned red. But then a sound. It came from behind. A shadow moved. Mira turned fast, holding her portable scanner like a shield. Who's there? She called. From the dark, a figure stepped forward. It was Rilo. Mira, he said, breathing hard. They're coming. I heard them. Talking near the council tower. Draxon's planning something. What is it? She asked. They want to blame you for the illness. They say your machines might be causing it. Myra sighed. That's not true. But it won't matter to those who already fear me. What will you do? Relo asked. I'll do what I always do, Myra said. I'll keep helping. The truth will protect us. The next day, Myra and Relo presented their findings to the council. Their scans showed the southern water source had been touched by a rare mineral. This mineral blocked the natural energy flow in young Oricians. It's not a virus, Mira explained. It's the environment. The water is harming them slowly. If we clean the water, Rilo added, we can stop the illness from spreading. The council listened carefully. Master Varl stood. This research is clear. It is because of Dr. Mira that we understand the illness now. She has not caused harm, she has brought healing and answers. One by one, the council members nodded. Even some of Draxon's old supporters now stayed silent. Outside, under the bright sky, Nira and Kara walked together in the garden. They laughed, ran, and played with the glowing paper animals they had made. Children from the city joined them, filling the air with joy. From a distance, Mira watched them with a quiet smile. In the face of fear, hope had returned. But she knew the journey was not over. Not yet. The winds over Solaris City were stronger than usual. Clouds drifted low, and a light fog covered the garden paths. But inside the healing house, something stronger than wind was growing a storm of truth. Dr. Mira sat in the shared research lab. With her team, the latest reports were clear. For more children from the river valley had shown early signs of soul fading. Thankfully, because of early scanning and the discovery of the tainted mineral in the water, Myra and the healers had begun treating them before the illness grew worse. They're all stable, Rillo said, checking a data screen. The nanites are working again? Just like with Nira and Kara? Mira nodded. But it's not just about treatment now. We must fix the water. If we don't stop the cause, more children will keep falling sick. I spoke to the Water Council, said Tara, one of the young Orician scholars. They're ready to begin the cleansing project, but they want full council approval first. Mira leaned back in her chair. Then we'll go again, this time with proof stronger than words. Later that day, Mira and her team stood once more before the Orician Council. She showed clear data on the harmful mineral and how it was blocking energy flow in young bodies. Rillo explained how the nanites helped repair the damage but couldn't prevent new cases if the water stayed untreated. Varro listened carefully. And what do you suggest we do? Mira answered firmly. Filter the River Valley's water supply. Your own machines can do it. They just need to be adjusted to remove this rare mineral. One council member asked, will this fix the problem forever? It will stop new cases, Mira said. But you must also keep testing the area. If something like this appears again, we must catch it early. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then Varl said, I support this. Most of the council nodded in agreement, all except one. Healer Draxon stood slowly. You call this progress, but I see invasion. Machines in our rivers, machines in our bodies, and now machines in our laws. No one is invading anything, Mira replied calmly. I offered help. You don't have to accept it. But people are alive today because of that help. Alive, yes, Draxon said. But at what cost? Will they still be Orician in 20 years? Rillo stepped forward. Yes, they will, because their spirit, their dreams, and their hearts are still the same. The council remained silent. Varro looked around. We have made our choice. The cleansing will begin. Draxon turned without another word and walked out. But something in his eyes warned that he was not finished. That night, darkness fell early. Rain tapped gently on the windows of the healing house. Most of the patients were asleep. Nurses moved. Quietly through the halls, Mira returned to her room, tired but satisfied. Progress was slow, but it was real. She sat down to review her notes, but her screen flashed suddenly. Security alert, unauthorized entry, Hope Wind medical storage. Her heart raced. She stood at once and called Rilo. Someone's inside my ship. Again, come with me. They hurried to the launch bay, where Hopewind stood under a silver cover. Mira tapped her access panel and opened the doors. Inside, they found the storage room open and a shadowy figure inside. Stop, Mira called. Who are you? The figure turned and rushed past them. Rillo chased, Mira close behind. They caught. Up to the figure at the edge of the gardens. Under the moonlight, they saw his face. It was Draxon's assistant, Same one who had supported him during council meetings. You broke into my ship, Myra said firmly. He said nothing, just breathing. Heavily, Relo stepped closer. Why? What were you looking for? The man dropped a small device, one of Myra's nanite-controlled tools. You wanted to steal it? She asked. He shook his head. No, I was told to destroy it. Myra stared at him. By Draxon. He hesitated, then nodded slowly. I didn't agree with it, he said. I couldn't say no. Rilo looked angry. This could have killed people. I know, the assistant whispered. But Draxon said if he didn't stop you now, you'd control everything. Mira stepped forward. Tell him this. I don't want control. I want lives to be saved. That's all. The next morning, Draxon was brought before the council. Varl looked at him with sadness. You've gone too far. We understand your fear, but fear cannot guide our future. You think I'm the enemy? Draxon said quietly. But I'm trying to protect what makes us Orishan, Varl replied. And yet your actions nearly destroyed the very people you claimed to protect. The council decided to remove Draxon from his position as head healer. He would no longer be allowed to interfere with Mira's work or with the healing house's progress. With Draxon gone, things changed quickly. The river cleansing began at once. Orishan engineers, helped by Mira's knowledge, built a filtering, a system that removed the harmful mineral from the water. More children who showed early signs were treated early and all recovered well. The healing house became a place of both old wisdom and new discovery. Orishan healers and earth doctors worked. Together, machines stood beside crystals. Knowledge was shared instead of hidden, and Mira became not just a guest but a guide. One afternoon, Mira and Kara stood together in the healing garden, planting a small glowing tree. Mira knelt beside them. What are you planting? A memory. Tree, Mira said. It grows with stories. What story will it tell? Mira asked. Kara smiled. A story about how a human came to save us. And how Orisha learned not to be afraid, Mira added. Mira looked at the soft blue leaves of the tree. That's a story worth remembering. But deep in the hills, beyond the city, a figure stood alone. Drax, on watching the skies. Waiting. Because while one chapter was ending, something new was coming, and not all would welcome the peace that followed healing.